All right, you guys, we just got done with Cam's episode. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to this one. We talk a little bit about limiting beliefs, what it's like to go from being a solo business owner to expanding into a team. And he roasted me a little bit in the middle of it. And I'm going to show up next week with 2 new items, or he said he's not coming. So stay tuned to see what I'm wearing next week to make sure that Cam shows up so we can actually make this podcast. Don't forget to use code Christmas for 20% off the online courses, coaching, in-person training, and merch. Our February and March class dates will be launching soon. So let's get into the episode. Back in town on a radar. Baby, don't make me wait. Body like, been a long while, and I just wanna taste. Let's be alone. I put it down when I come around. All right, you guys, I'm super excited for this episode. Today I have Cameron on. Cameron is actually part of the production crew, but you just had a second baby. So you guys are a family of 4 now. This is like, I've seen a couple photos of the new baby with Kaylin. So it's Kaylin and Kai, and they are literally so cute. I can't even handle it. But you are part of the founding team of CoCreate, and we've been working together for a little while now. I remember I had Cameron come on and do videos for one of my first online courses. So we met a couple years ago, and your wife Kaylee has come and work at the studio, and I'm just really excited to have you here. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about what you do or how you got into all of this and videography and everything.
Yeah, so my name is Cameron. I am a videographer, cinematographer. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now. When you start off as a freelancer, it's like you're used to like doing things your way. Mm-hmm. And then you go from being a freelancer to like working in a team of 5, and everybody has different workflows and personalities and tendencies. And it's interesting, like going from that to adjusting to like a whole different dynamic. The reason it works so well is because we're all so different. Like I feel like Kevin, he's like so thorough, mm-hmm. right? And like Zach, he's like one of the most creative people I've ever met. Aaron, he's really good with people, right? Mm-hmm. I'm super good creatively. Andrew's really good. He's like a super good talker, so that's mm-hmm. why he's so skilled.
And he's really good at sales.
Yeah.
When he started talking about stuff, or like I remember, I don't know what it was, or he was like talking to me about something. I was like, you could sell anything to anybody, mm-hmm. and not a lot of people have that.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about our business now, because I truly feel like we're at a point where our business is like bulletproof. Like mm-hmm. there's not a single stone unturned. Like everything that we do, we can offer like the full client experience from start to finish. And like that's always been like something that I felt like my business was missing, because I feel like I could like create a really good video and it looks really sexy and really cool, but it's like I always struggled with that back end stuff and like actually like running a full-fledged business. Mm-hmm. And that was that something you ever struggled with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of admin stuff I've passed off to Nola or like those little things, and I think that's where it comes back down to for me, and what I've listened to so much on so many different podcasts is like, you need to stay in your lane, like stay in your zone of genius and hire out the rest, because then you get to be excited and have that energy about the things that you're really good at, mm-hmm. and let other people who are really good at QuickBooks and really good at taxes and really good at like sending those emails, or like they enjoy doing those things. They get to focus on that rather than that taking up part of your day, and you have less time to be in your zone of genius. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that took me out of my creativeness when I had to be like, oh, I need to have a full admin day, or I would push things off and be like, oh, well, I'll do some of it today and then some of it tomorrow. But when I just got to show up and do the creative things, or lash and do model sets, like that is what excited me, and that is what like kept my energy going in those things.
Yeah.
But then when I was focusing so much on the admin stuff, I would get to do the fun stuff, and I'm like, I don't even have any energy for this, because mm-hmm. I had to focus on all these other things that I don't really enjoy doing. So I feel like when you get to that point where you're able to pass off those things, it just allows you to be more aligned in what you want to focus on.
Yeah, and it's cool, or it's hard, because like it's difficult to perform at your highest level when you're not passionate about what you're doing. I feel like I said, I came from the 9-to-5 background, and you know, I've had probably more jobs than you can count. I've been fired from probably over half of them, And like looking, like if you knew me back then, you probably would have thought I was a bum. But like the thing, I mean, these guys will tell you, like anybody that knows me knows that if I'm passionate about what I'm doing, like I'm the hardest working guy. At the end of the day, like the reason why that kept happening is because I felt like I was destined for something else. And I felt like I was, like the best way I can describe it is I felt like I was living my life on like autopilot. You know what I mean? Like I was just letting my days go by over and over and over. And, I felt like I was constantly, it was hard for me to focus on like my actual 9 to 5 job because I was so unhappy and I was like depressed and I was like, I felt like I always joke with Aaron and I say like, I'm unemployable. And I truly, like, it sounds funny, but I truly believe that because I think there's certain people out there that are just meant to like work for themselves. And it took me a long time to figure out and get out of that, and figure out what I was meant to do. But that's kind of like what my mentality was throughout that whole thing.
And I feel like it's so easy, like when you're working a 9 to 5 or when you're working for someone else to get, if it's something that you're not passionate about, it feels like you're living someone else's life.
Yeah.
Like I'm going through these motions of like, that's how I felt when I was in college. Like literally from the moment I stepped foot on that campus, I was like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I just knew, I had this feeling that was like, this is not where I'm meant to be. And I feel like for anyone listening, like if you have that inkling, like even a little bit of like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, go somewhere else. Like figure out what it is you're passionate about. Figure out what it is that lights you up. And even if it seems scary and like uncertain, you're going to figure it out. Like you're going to get to that point. And I feel like anyone who is an entrepreneur, you're going to hit roadblocks. Like you're going to hit things that come up. But if you have that determination and that passion to figure it out, like you're going to stick with it. And if you stick with something long enough, you're going to be successful. And if you have that drive, you're going to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I love the people that I work with now because everybody has the same vision. I feel like everybody is like constantly just worried about like that present moment and not worried about the future and like what they're actually meant for. And like we were able to like see beyond that. Like we had our skin in the game and we were able to like get our experience in and take it as far as we could. And then once we got to that point, we were like, it was almost like it fell into our lap. We've been able to accomplish so much in just a short amount of time. So,
well, I mean, you guys are so easy to work with. Everything you do is top notch. I mean, our last episode, even Steven, him and I were talking about you guys on the drive up here. And he was like, when I do more things, like I want to hire them. Like other people see what you guys are doing and see how much passion and dedication you have to the outcome of the production and everything. Like you can tell how high quality everything is. And I think all of you mesh together so well. So it's been really cool for me to even see like working with you one-on-one and now working with the full team.
yeah.
Like all of you guys are just a blast. You can tell like how much effort you put into everything you guys do.
Well, you were like one of our like first legit clients. So like, like we're really thankful that you took a chance on us. And just like the cool thing about what you did is you gave us full control. You know what I mean? And then you trusted us. And what we care about is like the storytelling aspect and like the creative vision that we have behind every project. And you were able, like, you've always been such like an easy person to work with.
Have you guys had anyone that's like, no, I want this, or I want to be this way, or this is how we want things to go? And obviously you don't have to name names or anything, but like, I feel like for me as like a creative individual, I mean, obviously with lashes, it's so different than like a whole video production or podcast production. But I always wanted to be like, I'm the expert. Like, just let me do my thing. Like, I'm going to make you look beautiful. I'm going to make you feel great. Like, I'm sure as a fellow creative, it's more so like, let me do my thing. Like, I know what I want.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the game. I feel like, it's all about how you handle the situation and not how, try not to focus on like the issues that you have with every client. Like those are always going to happen. I'm sure you have them too. Like you've probably had some nightmare clients and difficult times you had to deal with. But for us, like, I feel like what makes us different, like something I take a lot of pride in is how, the relationship that I build with my clients and like how I handle those situations when they happen. I mean, I just had a wedding client not too long ago, that I worked with, and we had a SD card go corrupt on us, and it was like a nightmare. It was really bad. We lost like, I would say like a quarter of their photos. It was bad. And with a wedding, obviously, like that's a nightmare. Like, you know, you have one shot with something like that. And it's crazy because that something like as tragic as that happened, and we were able to talk them through this situation and be like, you know, we're really sorry. We're going to do the best we can. We take full responsibility. And at the end of the day, like after the long conversation they had, obviously they were upset, but we were able to like get it to a place where they still said that they would recommend us at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's almost unheard of in those situations because especially with weddings, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that happens, and like people are like, you know, that's one of the most important days of their life.
And emotions are high just to begin with. So it's like starting from that kind of anxious energy already, and then having like something. I remember, I mean, on my wedding day, like a couple different things went wrong, and I kind of just had to be like, whatever. Like, what am I going to do? It's fine. I'll hopefully have a second wedding. Like nothing goes on later on. But anyways, like looking at it like that, like, and I think it comes down to like your mindset around it too. Like kind of like we were talking about in the last one, like in the grand scheme of things, like looking at all those, like the little things really don't matter.
And like I said, I personally like, and you know, maybe some people on the team might feel differently. I don't think so, but I personally think that the relationship that we have with our clients is number one.
Yeah.
I think creative comes second. And I think that if we take care of our clients and we make sure that they feel heard and respected and understood, I think that we can like deliver a better result for them and a better overall experience for them because they felt like they were a part of it.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to get a little light now. I want to hear about your hat obsession.
Okay.
I've been seeing you share all these stories
Yeah.
of these cool hats, and I'm like, wait, do I have a hat obsession now? Like, do I want all these hats? Like, walk us through that. Where do you find these hats, for one?
It's kind of difficult. It's like I said, you talk about all the time, like going down a rabbit hole. It's kind of like Aaron will tell you, I have an obsession with like, I guess, obsessions, if that makes sense. I have a lot of hobbies, and I can only focus on one at a time because otherwise I'd be broke.
Yeah.
I went through like a record, like a vinyl record collecting phase. I went through like one of the, you know, those Funko Pops. I collected. I've probably dropped like $3,000 on those things.
What are those?
Like the little vinyl Funko Pop. I'll pull a picture up.
I'm like, I feel like I've heard that before, but I can't picture what it is.
Yeah, they're just these little toy things. These things. Have you ever seen them?
Oh.
Yeah.
You were obsessed with those for a while?
For a while, yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, I got about like.
Were they like athletes or what?
No, it's like it's like pop culture, right? So like TV shows, like music.
When you get home, I want to see a picture of your collection.
Oh, I have plenty.
He's like, hold on one sec, I got him.
So yeah, the hats is like kind of like my thing right now.
Current obsession besides Crocs, which by the way, I'm surprised you're not in Crocs right now.
I was actually wearing my Crocs earlier. I changed.
I saw that, the white ones, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Crocs should sponsor you.
That would be great. I love my Crocs. I'm still waiting on you to get your pair.
You know.
How do you feel? How do you actually feel about Crocs?
I've never had a pair. People who have them are like die-hard fans of their Crocs.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was so funny. My friend Jenny and I in high school, I don't know what show said it, but they said Crocs are for 2-year-olds on the beach or grandma's gardening. And so we were like, we're never going to wear Crocs.
Yeah.
And so I haven't bought them since, but my whole friend group one by one have started to buy Crocs. And I'm like, wait, is this a thing? Like, are these cool? So I think I would try them. I'd probably wear them around the house. I don't know if I'd be caught dead wearing them out in public. But
you know how they say like every friend group has that like one like less attractive friend that like might be super funny and everybody still loves. Like that's kind of how I feel about Crocs. You know what I mean?
They're the less attractive shoe.
Yeah,
that
like you won't get caught dead like with them in the club, but you'll get breakfast with them in the morning or something. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to get a pair.
Yeah, you keep saying you're going to get a pair.
I know, I keep saying that.
Yeah.
We record next week. Maybe I'll hop on today. And
I'm not going to
order
come back
some.
on the pod unless Kenzie gets a pair.
On it or at all. You just come up and say you guys are.
I won't come on as a guest until you come on. Until you get a pair.
Okay, I'll get a pair.
You got to start watching all the shows that I've been recommending too. I keep telling you to watch all these shows.
I know. You've been telling me shows.
You and
telling me
Steven were talking
podcasts.
about all your favorite shows, and like you didn't name a single one that I've told you to watch.
Oh, damn. Okay. By next week, I'm going to get Crocs and I'm going to watch the shows that Cameron recommends.
Yeah, I'll give you homework.
And then we'll be friends again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Well, I'm obsessed with your hat obsession and the Croc obsession. I feel like I go in the same thing. Like I'll go in waves of obsessions, and it's cool to see. I'm not currently in an obsession.
Yeah.
Yet.
I'm not very good at saving money because I spend it all on Crocs.
How many Crocs do you have now?
Like 4 or 5 pairs.
Okay.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing
right?
crazy. I would say probably most people only have 1 pair.
Yeah.
So that seems maybe a little more towards the crazy end if you have 4 or 5 pairs. You have some really wild ones that are like wavy.
Yeah.
Is that a collab?
So like you were saying, like I feel like like everybody kind of had the same opinion on Crocs like a couple of years ago, and then like Luke Combs and Justin Bieber and like everybody started doing it, and then now everybody thinks they're cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like if you wear them with confidence, like they're cool.
Yeah.
But kind of like Anne Marie was saying on her episode, if you're like, oh, this is my Kia Soul, this is my mom's car. If you're like, yeah, I fucking drive a Kia Soul. It's like kind of one of those things. If it's
I wear mine everywhere.
Yeah. And at this point, I feel like Crocs don't even have to be ironic because they have gotten to a place of popularity that it's like everybody knows what they are.
Yeah. Even Aaron wants a pair.
Even Aaron wants a pair?
Yeah.
Segueing into kids, you guys now have 2 babies.
Yeah,
you and
4
Kaylee.
4 if you count the dogs.
4 if you count the dogs. And dogs are a responsibility.
Yeah.
They need a lot of attention too. So what was that like transitioning from like being business owner couple, both of you owning businesses, having a baby, and now like adding another baby into the mix? I know it's only been a little over a week.
Yeah. So
exactly a week, huh?
Yeah, he was born on Thanksgiving. He's our little Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah.
Like I said, it hasn't been enough time to really, like I said, I mean, even when I walked in today, it was like totally different getting ready this morning because you have 2 kids you're worrying about, and it's like Kaylee's in charge of one while I'm in charge of the other, and then I'm packing my camera gear, and then we're getting them in the car, and then just a whole domino effect of, other things. But I feel like it hasn't really changed all that much from what I've noticed so far. I think people put like this really negative like stigma around having kids and like how much your life changes. But personally, like, and this just might be my experience. I know there's different people out there that, have different experiences with it, but I feel like it hasn't really made my life much more difficult. Aside from like going out with friends and like that part of it, is a little bit more challenging just because, you can't just like leave whenever you want. Thankfully we have a lot of support with our family, so it's easy. It's easier to find, like a babysitter and stuff like that, but we still don't go out that often. So, as far as how it's changed my business, not really. As far as like having a second kid, I always say like with my 4-year-old, when he was born, he's what turned my passion into purpose. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I feel like I had something that I really cared about and something I was really good at, but I never had a reason to do it until that happened, until he was born. So with my boys, I feel like they added to like my why and the reason why I do what I do. It's more than just something I care about doing now. It's more than something that like I enjoy at this point. Like it's necessity at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like when you have a kid, it's you really don't know what you're really made of until you have a kid. So a little bit of a backstory. Like I got fired from my job as a maintenance tech, and that's when I went full time. I was like super scared. And then Kaylee got pregnant, and we were engaged, and we got married all in the same year. So it was like all this stuff happening in the same year. And it was like the most nerve-wracking time of my life, but it felt like that's the reason why I was able to do those things, is because like I was really like thrown into the fire and like
Yeah.
expected to be like, okay, like you got to make this work now, you know?
What's that like, being married to a business owner as well? And like, how did that change your dynamic as a couple and like time spent together? Do you feel like that brought you closer together, both being business owners, or do you feel like there were certain things that were like adversities you guys had to go through?
Yeah, so I actually owe a huge amount of my success to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have a little bit of a unique story. So like with Kaylee, she's kind of the reason why I was able to do what I do. When I got fired from my job, like I said, I was pretty much forced to make a decision. This was before we found out she was pregnant, but we she was working a really good 9 to 5 job. She worked at an apartment complex, and this is before she had her own business. She made the decision, and she's always been super supportive of what I do, and she made the decision to kind of support our family so that I could go after what I wanted to do. Because, like I said, I was super depressed. I felt like I had no purpose at that point. And like I said, I had gotten fired from another job. I felt like a failure, and I was like, I know that I'm meant for something more, and I have this thing that I'm really good at, and I think I can make it work. And she's like, go and do it. And then so we're really fortunate to have been able to find the clientele that we did early on, but she really held it down in the beginning so that I could chase after what I wanted to do. And then at some point along the way, after we found out about our son and we got married, she decided that she had a passion for aesthetics and she wanted to pursue that. And because of what she did for me, I was able to find success in that and return the favor so I could put her through school. And that's kind of how that whole thing started for her.
That's so cool.
So it's really cool, like thinking about, I actually, I've never actually really thought about it like that, but it's been really cool to like look back and be like, if it weren't for her doing that for me. And like I said, a lot of people might look down on that because like we were talking about earlier, like the man's supposed to be the provider, and that's what I was trying to do, but it just wasn't working traditionally, you always talk about it all the time, right? Following the path that, your parents might think is the best way. Like even me and my parents had, a lot of obstacles because they didn't understand like the decision I was making and the path that I wanted to follow for myself.
Right.
But Kaylee always believed in me, and she always thought that it was going to work out. It was just a matter of like her like being like, okay, you just need to do it. And it's really cool that I was able to do that. And like I said, I mean, because of that, I met these guys, and we were able to find success early on again, and we were able to pay for her entire maternity leave throughout this whole thing. And yeah, if it weren't for her in the beginning, I don't think I would have been able to do any of that.
That's so cool. When I think too, like just knowing you guys and like seeing you guys, even if it's just on social media, you guys are a team and you guys have each other's backs.
Kaylee and I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's so cool. I mean, literally any post that you post or any post that she posts, you guys are the first people. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You guys are the first people to like hype each other up on Instagram. And it's like, not a lot of people do that, or not a lot of people have that, or even like with, any of my exes, not that that's expected at all, but like to have that kind of support and just like that person rooting for you, like knowing that they have your back and they have your best interest at heart is huge, because not a lot of people have that. And like in my past relationships, I never really felt like I had that support because my business took time away from them, or like looking at it like that, or knowing like, oh, even if we have to spend time working on our businesses, like I support you and I'm here for you, and like I'm rooting for you. And like hearing that, I think is really, really cool. Knowing that, like, and especially too for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna let her take the reins on this, because like you said, or like, I've talked about before, like sometimes our parents have that idea of, or we have that thought of like, oh, well, my parents think I should be doing this, or society tells me like this is my path, or like because I'm a male or because I'm a female, like I need to be doing XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think it does come back down to like what brings you joy.
Yeah.
And like if you have the opportunity to go after that, like why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And like for you to like put your ego aside, not that even you felt that way, but to
Oh,
be
I
like,
did. Yeah.
you did.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, like I was super embarrassed. Like I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I've always grown up a certain way. Like I always thought like it's my job to provide for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that I wasn't making nothing,
Right.
but she had the stable job, she had the stable income, and I was the one who was paycheck to paycheck. And I was the one who was like, I don't know how much I'm making next month.
Yeah.
And the thing with me is like it took me a long time to like be confident in that and like kind of ground myself and find that success along the way and to be able to justify the decision that we made. Because it was hard. Like I was terrified and like and we both were. Like she always had faith in me, but we always it was not always easy. Like we struggled sometimes and we had like tough months and we had to really like stick to it and just kind of trust the process. But overall it worked out because like you said, like we've always like put supporting each other at the forefront of everything. Because if I can't support her and she can't support me, how are we going to expect anybody else to, you know?
Okay, so I want to ask you, being married to an esthetician, what is that like? Has your skincare routine changed? Do you do facials together? Or what tips do you have for guys that you wouldn't think of until after she became an esthetician?
So I'm the worst person to ask for advice because I feel like I've learned so many new things that I was doing wrong along the way. Like even just, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I asked Kaylee, I was like, are guys supposed to be wearing sunscreen too?
Yeah.
And she's like, what, like, do you think men are just immune to skin cancer or
She's
something?
like, do you have skin?
Obviously I'm finding like out like the things that I'm doing wrong, like 6-7 years into our relationship, where like she's just finding out that I wash my face with body wash.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I didn't know that was a no-no until she went to beauty school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The worst part about it is she's constantly picking at me.
Yeah.
Like I fucking hate that. Like it's like the worst thing. And I'm sure a lot of guys who are dating estheticians can probably relate, but it's kind of unavoidable. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to stop.
I did that to my boyfriend a little bit ago and he goes, "Oh, we're there now."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yep, come here."
Yeah,
like,
it's horrible. And
let me get it.
I'm such a baby too. Like,
yeah, I feel like honestly, sorry, most men are like when
Yeah.
it comes to that, when it comes to brow waxing,
Yeah.
like anything, like I wax probably like 3 of my guy friends' brows and like their nose hairs, and we call it Macklash after hours. Like they'll come in because we'll be like out at the bars or something, or like before we go out, I'll wax everybody.
Yeah.
And they are babies. And granted, their hair is a lot thicker. The guys that I do, their hair is a lot thicker. Even like their nose hairs, I feel like nose wax doesn't hurt as bad, but they've got a lot of hair.
No,
up
it all
there.
hurts me.
So
like I said, I'm the biggest baby when it comes to that stuff. And like thank God for her too, because she's really good with brows.
yeah, she's amazing at brows.
And I have really thick brows. And they get out of control after a while. So I didn't, and that was another thing too. Before I married her, I was like, I didn't know I had a problem. And then,
Yeah.
and then she starts doing my brows. I'm like, oh, like this is nice, you know?
You're like, wait, I look good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a plus too. But
That's so funny.
I feel like the things that I've learned from her haven't been from aesthetics. It's just from like business ownership in general or just life. Aaron will tell you this too. I mean, I always refer back to Aaron because he's known me the longest, but like I'm notorious for being kind of a pushover. I give people a lot of like too many chances, and she's kind of helped me step into my power a little bit. And like, you know, Kaylee's a little harder than I am. She's taught me how to have like thicker skin and like stand up for myself in certain situations. Cause like I said, I'm a people pleaser. So, you know, at the end of the day, like I just want people to be happy with their experience with me.
Yeah.
And I feel like even to my detriment sometimes.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I feel like I've been able to learn a lot from her, and she's taught me how to like, you know, really like become I guess a boss in a way, and like, you know, help me not get taken advantage of in that way. And I feel like I've been able to offer, you know, value in different ways to her as well. So I feel like that's kind of the cool thing about being in a relationship with someone who's also a business owner, is you're able to learn different things like that you normally wouldn't learn from someone who like works for somebody else, and just because, you know, lives their life in that way.
Exactly.
I kind of wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
And some of the guys on the team will tell you this too. Like I'm pretty hard on myself. You and Andrew talked about this a little bit on his episode. But when it comes to like limiting beliefs and stuff like that, what have you done to kind of combat that and like push through that?
I feel like those specific thoughts, I feel like most people go through that. I've definitely gone through that, those limiting beliefs of like, why am I even doing this? Like when I first started training, I was like, who wants to come, like, who's going to want to come learn from me?
Yeah.
When I first started online courses, I was like, who's going to buy my online course? Like most people, if you're someone who puts a lot of effort into things, you're going to have those thoughts, because you're going to wonder, are people going to see value in this? Like, do people actually want to learn from me? And like, or see the value in my work? And especially like with coaching, that's where a lot of my limiting beliefs came in, because I was like, people are literally hiring me just basically because of who I am. And obviously all the tools that I can give them, the expertise that I can help them with in their business, and like holes that I can see that I can help them, you know, streamline their business a little bit better. But I feel like the biggest thing that helped me was starting to realize, and like, for me, I was like, I kind of have to get cocky a little bit and be like, okay, you know what? I do have value to share. I do have so many things that I've gone through that have helped me become the person, the business owner, the lash artist that I am. And what helped me the most get out of my head is, I'm not trying to teach people that are the same level as me. I'm not trying to help people at the same level. I'm trying to help people who were 2 years ago me, and people who were in a position that they were floundering, they struggled with retention, they struggled with fan making. Like, that's who I'm helping. And I know I'm in a place that can help them transform their business. And I feel like that is what really got me out of my own way, because a lot of the time when we look at social media, or even like me looking at social media now, I'm like, okay, I can see all the people that are about my same level. We're all doing the same things. Those are not the people I'm marketing to. I'm marketing to the people who want to be where I am. Those are the people I'm talking to. So I don't even know if I answered your question, but like those limiting beliefs, I feel like that's kind of how I started to look at it differently. Like, I'm here and I'm in a position that can help certain people.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like my intro in the beginning was weak as hell. How did you feel? I felt like I was like, man, I'll be honest, like, it's different on this side. It's different. Like I thought I'd be good, but damn, I got tripped up in the beginning. I just like, you know how you like, I tell people not to do this all the time, and then I caught myself doing it. Like, you script it in your mind.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is what I want to talk about, and then you lose it. And then you're like, and then once you lose it, you're like thinking about,
you're
like,
wait,
oh
what was
man,
that one
what
thing
was I
wanted
talking
to
about?
say?
Yeah. So I feel like that's what got me.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot quieter in here than I thought it would be too.
I know, isn't it? That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time we recorded, and like, you were like, Alexa, off. And I was like,
whoa.
like, everything's quiet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's scary. Do you have any tips or advice for anyone wanting to get into the videographer what is that word? I'm not going to say that right.
Like the creative space.
Cinematographer. Yeah. Anyone who wants to get into that kind of creative space.
Yeah. I feel like with, you know, the biggest thing for me that I experienced is there's a lot of gatekeepers in the creative space. And I feel like that's with every industry. You talked about this in one of your other episodes about how, like, you're willing to share any information. That's the same way with me, is like, anyone, like, find your inspiration and find someone that you trust that is doing what you're doing already, and try to, like, learn from them. Obviously, like, you can go on YouTube. Like I said, everything that I've learned either from somebody else or on YouTube. I didn't go to college. I don't have a degree from like film school or anything like that. I just learned everything from the old YouTube Academy.
Yeah.
But like I said, I feel like that's kind of why I am the way I am. Like I'm the same as you. I'm willing to share all the information that I have because I feel like what really fulfills me is like helping other creatives like step into their power and like become more creative and follow their dreams. And, you know, the last thing I want to do is like keep someone from achieving something that they want in their life. The biggest thing is like for me that I feel like attributed to my success is I had a good network of people that I could learn from. And I've always said like the forefront of my values is I want to be that person for somebody else.
Right.
I want to be the kind of person who like builds people up, because you never know, like you could be the difference in someone else's success. That could help them get to where they need to go. You know, like I'll never look at myself as, you know, the most creative person or the most talented person, but there's a lot of people who have come to me and said that they look up to me, and I've seen them grow into, you know, bigger and better artists and more confident, because I was just willing to like help them any way that I can. And you'll be surprised, like sometimes like the people who look up to you could teach you something. Like our friend Riley, you know, he's someone who has always looked up to me, and someone who's like said that, you know, they look at me as like someone that they look up to in the creative world. But like he's come and shadowed me on some and helped out on some of our sets, and I've learned how to be a better interviewer because of him. Like so many different things I've learned. And I guess my biggest advice is just to like keep yourself open to relationships and like work on building your network and worry about creative second. Like I said before, you know, that's something that always will improve. That's something that you'll always get better at. But when it comes to your relationships, like your potential will be limitless if you keep yourself open to a larger network and meeting new people and building relationships. And that's truly what I think is going to take us to the next level and like keep us moving forward always.
I totally agree. I think that's huge. Building your network and just people you can go to and connect with is, you know, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like you said, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. And I think like your image is everything, right? Like I say all the time, you could be the most talented person in the world, but if you don't know how to represent yourself and you don't know how to treat a client and you don't know how to like hold on to that client and nurture that client, you know, you could make a great video, but you could treat them like crap and they're never going to work with you again. You know, and if you don't know how to market yourself and you don't know how to represent yourself in a way that you can be proud of, none of your talent matters.
It's all about the way you make people feel.
Yeah.
Okay. So any future plans?
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to keep doing what we're doing with CoCreate. We own a creative production agency here in Seattle. So we're going to build this thing up to whatever we can. And we want to work with as many people as possible and capture their vision, tell their story, and, you know, just never stop enjoying what we do. Because I feel like that, like it's like they say, you know, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And those are words that I live by, you know. So that's what we're going to keep doing. We got an incredible team of people that we're working with, incredible clients like yourself. So, you know, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Okay. Where can we find you guys?
So on Instagram, we're at we.cocreate. We're also on YouTube at, same thing. So we.cocreate on all social platforms. So check us out.
Sweet. Yeah, you guys give them a follow, hire them. You will not be disappointed. You're going to be recommending them to all of your friends. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for Cam coming on. I know we've been trying to get you on for a while.
You didn't really have a choice. We had a last minute cancellation, so we had to call an audible.
So I finally got him before I got my Crocs.
Yeah, I would have been on next week, but yeah.
All right, you guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to be reminded for every new episode Thursdays at 10 a.m. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Oh, man. I went through this whole thing.